everyone, I'm Marta and this is Coda, and today we want to talk to you a little bit about some tips for backpacking with your dog and some of the essentials that we like to bring on our backpacking trips. So first, let's start with the backpack. So when choosing your backpack, you want to make sure that it's one that fits comfortably and that your dog is comfortable carrying on short length hikes before you take it on a longer backpacking trip. And of course, just work your way up on these hikes. So when choosing how much to put into a dog's backpack, because of course you're carrying a lot of things as well, you want to make sure that it's about 10% of the dog's body weight. So if your dog weighs about 50 pounds, for instance, you don't want to fill their pack up with more than about 5 pounds of weight. And of course, also keep in mind your dog's ability and what they're most comfortable with. So now let's talk a little bit about what we like to put in our packs. So the first thing we always consider on any hiking or backpacking trip is water. So I like to use these little squishy water bottles because they're pretty light and you can put the water in them for your dog that can go easily inside the backpack because it fits nicely since they're smaller, but they can at least carry some of their own water. Of course, also consider water sources when you're on your backpacking trip. Make sure there's a good place that you can get more water. We like to use this kind of filtration system, but there are many different out there. You can choose what you're most comfortable with. Just make sure, again, that you have enough water for both you and your dog, especially since they might get more thirsty carrying a pack that's a little bit heavier. Next are the food bowls. We like to have some of these collapsible ones, as well as if you want like a really lightweight option, just a nice foldable bowl to put their food in. And again, it's really nice to have a lot of these things in the dog's backpack specifically so that you can access it while you're still getting to your final spot in the hike. Safety is another big important thing to think about when you're hiking with your dog. We have a little pet first aid kit that just has a few things to clean up and bandage up a wound if that were to happen. You always want to be prepared when you're out in the wilderness, which also leads me to a very important item is a rescue harness for your dog, especially a dog as big as Coda. If something were to happen to him, we want to make sure that we have a way of safely getting him back down to the start of the trip, back to the trailhead. So always keep that in mind. Another thing that we like to have that isn't necessarily an essential are these little doggy booties. So Coda has fairly thick paw pads and doesn't need them too often, but in more rough or environments where it's really hot, we like to protect his paws using booties. And same goes for dog goggles. His eyes get pretty sensitive to really bright light, or if it's really windy and there's dust and dirt particles flying around, we like to make sure that his eyes are protected. Another thing that we like to have is one of these nice little light up collars, because once it starts getting dark and if he's roaming around or even if he is on leash but for some reason were to get away, we would be able to see him more easily in the dark. And when it's time for bed, we like to use one of these collapsible dog beds. Again, there's a lot of different options for dog beds for backpacking, depending on what you're willing to carry, what they can carry, and what they're more comfortable with. Just always make sure that they're comfortable with the bed before you bring it out on their first backpacking trip. And one more thing that I think is an essential is somewhere to pack in, pack out. So you want to make sure that you pack out all of your dog's poop and keep everything clean in the way that it was when you got there. And last but certainly not least, we like to bring a few Natural Farm Pet bully sticks with us because they keep Coda very occupied and he stays distracted enough while we set up camp so that we know that he will be enjoying his bully sticks while we do that. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you find some of this information helpful, and let us know in the comments if there's any other tips or essentials that you have for backpacking with your dog. Thanks, bye!